Hi guys, I'm Shmee. Hello, welcome back to the channel and welcome to a beautiful day at the Nürburgring. Now at the moment the track is currently closed, but we're going to use this opportunity to give both the Senna and the GT a quick little wash. Of course we've been taking them around the Nordschleife, we've done some laps on the GP and plenty of driving as well. The cars need a bit of a clean up, but what I was thinking, given quite how scorching it is with the sunshine today, is that they're going to dry really quite quickly, and the way to avoid that is to take one for a lap on the green hell. So we're going to give the two cars a quick wash before jumping into the GT to go for a lap, trying out some new modes as well to enjoy the day. So let's do this, let's get started and then drive on the ring. As you could see then, the cars have been getting quite some attention with the track being closed at the moment, but just to show you a little bit what I'm talking about here, we've got some rubber marks, plenty of bug splats, and hey, these are cars that I like to keep clean and looking nice after all, and particularly actually the GT has been out kind of on display for a little bit, so if we just come around here, you'll see exactly what I mean. Remember it's PPF'd, but basically it's pretty dusty. So we're going to give them a rinse down, wash them down a bit before, well, I think we might dry the Senna off, but the GT is going to be taken out straight away to go do some more laps, because the last time and the first time that I drove it in track mode, and I kind of want to drive it today in sport to see the difference. I'll explain more about the suspension and what I mean by that when taking it around the track, but it will mean we can take it through Karussell, which will be good fun. In any case though, these two, the liquid red, the cerulean blue, in the sunshine, are looking fantastic. Let's kick off with the Senna. Might not spoil you guys. Let's do it this way. Let's get the bugs on the number plate. Well, we're nearly there. That's just about dry. Of course, we've now got some water spots to sort out, which is why we're going to take the GT for a drive to do this. But yeah, one nearly done. We're now going to move the Senna out of the way because, of course, if it stays here when we wash the GT, it's just going to get sprayed. The funny thing, though, is that those are basically full of water. So as soon as I start it, I think we're going to have a bit of water spitting out. So let's give it a go, have a little listen, see what it's like. And there's a lot of water that drips out of the door. This is actually quite funny. I'm going to go and show you on this side. Of course, aero in the car means that's all hiding inside. This isn't a full technical wash here, this is a rinse down, just to make the car look a touch cleaner and tidier. So, right, let's get this started up. 1 second. Maybe that didn't go entirely to plan, but now it is time to do the GT. So, exactly as before, but this time, when we're finished, instead of drying it down, we're just going to go straight out and drive. That is now one rinsed down GT. So, plan of action. Let me just quickly clean the windows, because obviously that's quite important to be able to see properly. And as soon as the glass is all clear, let's head straight out, because word has come back in that the Nordschleife is indeed now back open. And well, we've got a wet car that needs drying, and the best way to do that is to take it out and drive on a legendary place like we have here. So, just a gentle wipe of the glass. And yeah, I'll come around and do the passenger side really quickly, and then it's going to be time the rest of the car will dry off while we do this. So let me pop this back. For the moment, let's jump in. Oh, left-hand drive car, nearly forgot myself. Not the first time that I've nearly got that wrong. Let's take this straight on and go and have some fun. So, let's take a listen. Here's the first problem. There's a little bit of a traffic jam to get down today to the entrance of the Touristenfahrten. Touristenfahrten, tourist drives, open, public road rules as always. Just to remind you, this isn't a race of any sort, this is just having fun driving on the Nürburgring in the Ford GT. Now, it's not the first time I've taken the car around. About a week or so ago, I did 2 laps in the car, so I've got a bit of a feeling for what it's like, but that's where I had it in the track mode. So just to demonstrate, into track, press OK, the car sits right down. Now, the very clever thing about the Ford GT is this trick suspension system that basically has two completely different setups in the one car. When you have it drop down into the track mode, you're running pretty much in full race spec, totally suited and appropriate on a flat Formula 1 or Grand Prix style circuit. But the Nürburgring is more like a bumpy road. I mean, it is that kind of thing. Yes, it's a track, it does host track days, but the surface is bumpy. There are lots of undulations. It has the low sections, the compressions, the Karussell, for example. So in track mode, you can't necessarily do everything because it's too low. And what I found is with the bumpy surface, it actually moved the car and pushed it around quite a lot. So when I took the Senna around, I had it in sport mode rather than the Senna's race mode. But today, we're going to drive in sport mode, so we've still got the wing up. You can control whether the wing is always up or always down, or not always down, of course, because it fires up when it needs at speed, under load, or for the air brake. But we'll drive it in sport mode. So we're running in the sportier version of the normal suspension, because you do have sport, normal mode, and wet mode. But in sport mode, just to reselect that, it's the firmer setting. I'm obviously going to be manual on the gearbox, and this is the mode I want to try and drive and get a feel for what it's like in today. But the car is going to be very quickly drying, which probably means it's going to have dry spots all over it by the time we get down to the very front. This says it's 11 degrees. I don't believe it. I really don't believe it. It feels more like 25, that kind of thing today. So we've got warm temps, hot track temps. The track is very busy, as you can see from the traffic jam I'm currently sitting in. So let me stop waffling on for now. Let's get down to the entrance and get out onto the Nürburgring. The last bit of traffic then to get to the barriers, and the track temp is between 41 and 43 degrees. That is really quite warm. We're surrounded by a lot of cars, very much set up for the environment in which we're driving. I've got my ring card here, which has a few laps remaining on it before I go and top it up again. Got a big lean out. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. So, put that back in my pocket. The barrier is open for us. And out we go then, onto the Nordschleife. I say that, but there are some rumble strips and a small little section ahead of me. But all comfortable, all set. And sitting in sport mode, in manual again, and ready to rock and roll. Many of you guys know this already. Driving here is about having fun. This is not a race, this is not lap times. In fact, you're not actually allowed to even time your lap here. We've got a little bump, and then off we go. So I can do... Whoa! Feeling the cold tyres there. I was going to say we can go full throttle. In fact, we'll go full throttle a few times in different places. But I just want to have a good time today and make sure we bring the car home safely. That's what this is all about. So we're going to get through, past this guy. This place just feels so crazy every time. We're going to get the temperature though into these tyres before we take any chances here of any form. But the grip of the Ford GT is nuts. So tight on the barriers there, feeling a little bit of slip on the exit. On towards the red line. Tight on the apex at T13. Road rules apply, round to the overtake on the left always, never allowed to pass on the right hand side here. Good gracious. I love this car, you get so much feel for what it's doing everywhere you go. And I can feel already that it's riding over the slightly bumpy terrain better than we were doing at the Senna. Just feeling the grip, feeling the tyres, using the rumble strip at the exit. Wow, the air brake up in the air behind me. Let's not get too carried away. The Senna just has so much more grip, and I can feel the GT isn't quite as planted as the Senna was. I mean, obviously, this is a very planted car as we go through there at 200 kilometers an hour. Dab at the brake before we go over the crest here. I'm going to drop it down to 4th gear, but you can take this corner incredibly quickly. There we go, that's down to 4th gear. One consistent steering input as we ride around through some of these really, really, really fast corners here. Okay, this guy's not making it easy to pass here. There we go, 230 as we go light over the crest. You have to think so much to get overtaking people here. Carefully doing it all. Lots and lots of red line today, and you feel so much miss. So you miss the first bit of the apex here, touch in on towards the second, go wider around the third. This is the final miss. Particularly tight section as we come up behind a few cars going into it here. So gently does it, and around the outside. Before we get to the speed limited section at Breitscheid. So, just back off a second. You have to go a touch slower through there, but then you get to the de-restricted section again, up the hill. You want all the power you can get going up here, onto the red line, and into it. Oh, here we go. Oh, you can take this one very quickly. Just to get a touch easier. This corner, this is the one that throws me so much tighter than you expect it to be around here. Look at that, you come in from a fast section and you continue out of a fast section, but in the middle of it, you have that really, really tight bit. Now you've got 3 bits of stoned apex here to take. That's the first one, that's the second one, that's the third one. So come round towards the carousel, but very conscious of the car that's on my inside. There we go. This is the one that we should hopefully be able to do without touching the bottom. So, slow it down, hard on the brakes, drop it in, and around we go. Bumpy, bumpy, bumpy. Big smile on the face, hold it in, and out of the exit and back onto the power. Now we're coming to Brunchen. One of the most famous sections of the track, of course. Burn on the brakes down here. This is where you absolutely do not want to mess it up when you consider how many people are watching. And this is one of the most dangerous parts, this exit uphill, where you go a little bit light, use the power, use the exit strips, catching out with the Porsche in front. Oh, holding it there, using some of the exit curbs. We have to squeeze through here. We'll be able to get a gap. Nope, close the gap on me there. This is little carousel as we come round towards the end of the lap. Through the bumps. And the last set of corners of the entire track. Before we'll have the final rundown. Wow. Again, off camber, tighter than you think. And there we go, the Dottingerhör, the end of the Nürburgring Nordschleife, and hopefully one quite dry Ford GT. That was the objective. Let it cool down, take it easy, don't use your brakes down here, don't keep accelerating, because that's only going to go one way. Cooked brakes when you join the traffic jam up ahead, but as experiences go, in sport mode, massively better. Being able to feel more of the balance. And yes, I know, some of you are going to tell me, you should drive faster, you have these cars, why don't you push them properly, why don't you learn to drive? I'm just going to remind you that if something happens, it's not like I can just replace this with another Ford GT. This is my GT. I want to protect it, look after it, enjoy it, build memories with it, have a good time with it, and ensure that at the end of the day, I put it home safely in the garage. That is number one. Smile, safety, for me, for the car, having had an enjoyable experience on the Nordschleife. And today was a great example of that. What an outing that was. Yeah, we can go play Forza and drive even quicker, but I'm not a professional racing driver. I'm not a pro here at the Nürburgring. I'm just a guy having a good time with my car, and yeah, that was pretty epic. Rolling back through the car park then, the good thing about the track is the last few corners you don't really have to go heavy on the brakes, so you're actually cooling for quite a decent stretch. I am beaming though. I'm absolutely beaming. Driving this car, how in my mind it was built to be driven. It's a road car at the end of the day, an amazing road supercar as we've discussed, but one that isn't scary to experience like that, is immensely enjoyable. And yeah, wow, wowie. Yeah, let's just get back on the roads, out of some of these traffic jams, to make our way back then, to see how the car looks. We're back, the engine is still running to let the car cool down even more in today's heat. The Senna obviously completely dried off. The GT is looking pretty good, where earlier it had a lot of dust all over it. A few spots here and there that we need to dry up, but something you might just have spotted to show you. here. So what has happened here, effectively, is due to how hard the car was driven, the PPF has burnt. That is something that happens. It's not Topaz's fault, it's not anybody's fault in particular. You have to think about the temperatures of the twin turbo engine in here. It's something that commonly occurs on McLarens, and in fact, when we did the PPF on the Senna, we actually talked about this with Nabil at Topaz, and these louvres here on the engine bay, they don't have PPF on them because that would be exactly the same with the temperatures of the air coming out from the engine inside the Senna. So those are without PPF, and well, you've seen why. It was an interesting one while doing this car. We discussed it in advance, and we did the area, we left this area that you can see just on the inside, I guess, around the exhaust tip itself, knowing that that would happen, but it's quite easy to replace. You just change the panel over the back. But yes, small thing, but almost like a success. That's a symbol that the car has been driven properly, which is, well, what I want to do with it exactly. So I'm not complaining about that at all. What we're going to do now, though, is take this car and take them together to go and get a few photos. Here we go then. Following the Senna, seeing the wing moving as it does to calibrate itself each time. We're basically going to go to a spot just in front of the Nürburgring sign on the boulevard where the cars just look spectacular, and it makes for some amazing photos. The fans on this car are running in overdrive though. The Senna's of course being parked, so those guys are getting cooked inside there right at the moment. But out onto the road we go with the two together. Oh, to get some grip up there. We pull straight out, yeah, we've got some space. On the road then, with the Senna and GT together. Mad, crazy, all of these words, I'm sorry for overusing them during this trip to the Nürburgring, but I'm lost in emotion and craziness. I'm lost in what's going on. And one's brain, especially with this heat, does not function as you would like it to. Coming up with new words is definitely a challenge. I just want to share these experiences with you guys. That's my aim right now. I'm enjoying this so much, and I think the only thing I enjoy more than that is being able to share a little bit of what this is like, what it's about, what the feeling is like to bring the cars here, to go past a line of GT3 RSs and get to drive them and give you a sense of that. And yeah, following the Senna, looking at the Senna from right behind, that thing is just absolutely aggressive. The amount of louvres and openings and holes and aerodynamic shapes as you look around it. Yeah, so we're nearly where we're actually going to stop, which will be good. I need to get a drink because I'm fatigued from exhaustion and heat and just sweltering. Oh, AMG GTR, beast of the Green Hell. Not hugely surprising given that we are here at the Green Hell itself. Very full car parks today. Oh, with the beautiful weather, so many people coming to have some fun and join in. This is where we're going to stop for the moment. Wow. With that view, the Nürburgring sign in front of us here on the boulevard. We've parked the cars up here then in front of the Nürburgring sign on the boulevard, but the funny thing is, around about a week ago or so, I was actually here with the GT, but it was snowing. Now it's around 30 degrees, but what a drive that was. Actually being in sport mode made such a difference to the control of the car, the balance of it. Track mode just way too rigid for that car out on the Nürburgring. But it's been a pretty epic visit, driving both of them. I hope you've enjoyed the videos out on the Nordschleife, here also on the Grand Prix Strecker, the GP Strecker, during Tourist and Fart and the tourist drives. Yeah, lovely day, and as you can see, the car's getting a lot of attention as well as we take the photos here. So thank you very much, as always, for watching, guys. I appreciate your support, and I'll be sure to catch up with you again very, very soon. Cheers.